Welcome to Oz by Drone. I'm Greg, and we've got special guest co-host today, Chris Hope. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Welcome, and thank you for stepping in for John. He's going to be back next week, but good to have you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what's been happening for you this week? Anything interesting?
Nothing too interesting. At work, we had an engine down on maintenance for the last month, and we finally got it back together and pushing gas in the ground this week. So
you had an engine down on maintenance. What do you do?
I work in the natural gas industry, Greg, and we store gas in the ground.
Okay.
And natural gas in the ground, like an air compressor at your house. We do that with natural gas.
Okay. Fun and games. So
fun and games, yeah.
Yeah. So this week for me, I've been delving into the world of Wirecast. There's a new beta software out there, and I'm trying to get it to the point where I'm ready to use it for the show. But today is not going to be that day. And
right.
While we're here, let's cross our fingers, our toes, our legs for the internet. It's been dropping out again as regularly we see it every day, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll be okay today. One thing I do want to briefly mention at the top of the show before we get into the news is Fly There. And we've got a banner on shot B3, if my producer could put that one up there. So this is a competition for today. Let's put that on the screen. There we go. So this is just a reminder, flythere.com. These guys allow people the ability to go and fly in another country. Now, a little bit later, we've got a competition. We're going to give away some credits so that you can go and fly there. And one other thing that I want to say, when you go and do something with Fly There, if you get this as a gift for someone else, don't buy it for yourself. Get it for your auntie, your uncle, your whatever, and give it to them, but you'll also get credits as well. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. Give it away and get one for yourself, which I think is pretty cool. But we'll give that away a little bit later. And Lloyd, if you could also put that little thing in the chat room. To enter the competition, you need to use the words that are in the message there. So Lloyd's going to put that in the chat room. Post that, and it doesn't have to be Thailand. It can be Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, or any of the other countries that they support that you can put in your social media post. And we'll give that away today. The other thing that I'm going to briefly mention a little bit later on in the show, we're going to talk about some of the FT Aviator controversial stuff that's been happening in the last 24, 48 hours and so on. We'll talk about that. But before we do anything else, it's time to get to, and I didn't have my computer on the right screen, it's time to get to the news. And I pressed the wrong button. It wasn't Curtis Dart. That was my guest slide. Helps if I go and press the right one. There we go, the news. Take 2. So the first story today, drone racers have just got a major viewing upgrade. I think most of us here have heard about the new goggles, but what are the key facts that we really need to know about? If you're an FPV flyer, you want something that's fast and low latency. I want to talk about the latency and analyze that just a little bit. But instead of talking in milliseconds, I want to talk in terms of frames per second. If we talk about 60 frames per second and we pretend that we're on the aircraft, how many frames behind are the goggles compared to the aircraft? So the answer to that question, 1 point something, 1 and a bit. Obviously, it's impossible to be 0. You can't have a 0 latency. That'd be really, really nice, but it's obviously really, really impossible. So if we need to be at least 1 frame behind, and DJI have succeeded in that goal, it's 1 and a little bit behind at 60 frames per second. Either way, it's an amazing accomplishment. What do you think of the goggles? Have you and the FPV system? Have you had a look?
No, I don't do the FPV, and it's intriguing as all get out, but it's something I haven't done. But what I see, analog versus digital, of course, is way better, Greg. I think they're heading the right direction with it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and certainly the latency that we're talking about here.
Yes.
I'm like I said, I'm a video guy. I understand this more than. You don't think in milliseconds or microseconds. I think in terms of video frames, and it's only 1 point something frames behind. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's the difference between hitting a blade of grass or an ant mound.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. That was our first story today. Our second one, Project Wing. So in Queensland at the moment, we've all heard about Project Wing in Canberra. And they're expanding. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a loaf of bread and a carton of milk that will soon be a reality for Queenslanders, with Google set to launch its service up north. That's not the video.
A new drone delivery service will be tested in Logan, to the south of Brisbane. They are expecting a swarm of about 30 aircraft to assemble there, carrying food, drinks and non-prescription drugs to homes across the region. It's part of this Google-backed company Wing. It's waiting on final approval at the moment before launching this service from September. It'll allow businesses to drop packages weighing up to 1.5 kilos straight to your door.
Yeah, so for those who are not Australian, our friends up north, we refer to them as banana benders. It's a little bit of a term of endearment, and I just want to know when they'll start delivering bananas to our banana bending brothers up north. Yeah.
Well, for one, I don't know what a banana bender is.
Anyway, what do you think about the whole drone delivery stuff? John's been skeptical. And I understand his skepticism, but do you think it's got a future, or where do you think it's going to end up?
Yeah, it's probably got one. I mean, they're already doing it in some places. I can't see it, working way out in the country, but in the city, I'm quite sure it'll work just fine.
Yeah, it'll get there. And certainly where they started in Canberra was it was a good test location, but they picked, I think, a bad location for the depot. That's going to be the secret to success. Don't pick a depot location that's right next to residential homes, because they're all going to complain about the noise during takeoff and landing. Certainly that's a big concern.
Yep, sure will.
Okay, moving on to our next story. We've got drones forced the US Forest Service to shut down firefighting operations on Thursday morning in an area near the Alaska fire near Springville. The drone pilots were handcuffed for a time. I think we can all agree that these pilots were depriving a village somewhere of an idiot. It's just stupid. You don't want to go and do that kind of thing. But having said that, what's with the handcuff response? Are we heading for a world where drone infractions will result in pilots getting handcuffed?
It seems to be where we're headed, doesn't it?
Yeah, look.
People don't like them.
People don't like drones. I get that.
Yeah.
People flying drones near a forest fire is absolutely stupid. You've got to be the village idiot to do that. But
Roger that.
Does that mean, let me ask another question. I don't know about your legal system and your policing system over there, but if you're getting a parking ticket, does that give the parking officer the right to handcuff you and to arrest you, or should he be just giving you a ticket?
Probably just a ticket. And same thing, these kids or young men or old men should have been just sit down aside, sit them on the curb till they get it all figured out. I don't see why they need to handcuff them.
Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the next story. Speaking of drones and fire, this short video clip from BLM Alaska Fire Service drone pilot John Morton shows firefighters on the ground quickly finding and responding to extinguish a spot fire. Now, just put that full screen, there we go. So we've got the spot fire there. And you can see very, very quickly they've identified it, they've moved in, put it out. You know, it's a really, really good use of drone technology to deal with that. So that's really cool. My producer's looking at me as if she's got something to say. I just don't know what. Ken send me a message. Okay, I'll take your word for it. What's it say? Your audio isn't matching your video in the stream. Is this a symptom of 1080p? No, it's not. I'm not doing 1080p. It's a symptom of the fact that I'm using Telstra to do my streaming. If the video doesn't match, there's nothing I can do about it, but I've got a local recording here today and I'll upload that recording afterwards. I did notice there was a couple of dropouts earlier, so apologies if it's not 100% correct. So our next story today, we've got a police chase. Speaking of people being handcuffed, but this one is a police chase with a difference. Zachary Kingsbury fled Surf City Police on foot and then attempted to swim out to sea, getting nearly a mile out. This drone footage from SCPD is attached. So from what I gather, the police department there have deputized the local shark to go and chase the guy who's trying to flee. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Play that one more time. I want to have a look at that again. That's cool. Well, it's not cool so much, but it's interesting and it's very hard to see. But if you have a look down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's the shark and the guy is in the middle there trying to get away from the police, and the shark's definitely paying him some attention.
You know, it's funny now, then you're seeing a whole lot more shark reports now that people have drones. Have you noticed that lately, Greg?
I have seen that, but there's a lot, particularly this week, because it's actually Shark Week.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I did actually have a story that I was going to do, but I cut it because we had so much stuff. I actually saw someone talking about a shark spotted by drone, but it was actually a shark inside a cheesecake. If you want to have a look at that video, go and Google shark cheesecake. It was actually pretty cool, the cake that they made. But anyway, as we move from that story, CASA in Australia, compulsory drone registration was due to start already by now. CASA, however, have announced a delay to the rollout with a new plan to roll out the registration in phases later this year, with recreational operators using a 250 plus gram drone to be followed by sub 2 kilo. Now, I don't understand in this messaging that I'm reading how you would have 250 plus followed by sub 2 kilo, because they're both the same category, but then followed by commercial operators. My biggest concern with the scheme is the high cost per drone for commercial operators. We're talking about theoretically $160 per drone. Now, if you're an operator that's got a couple of drones, let's say most commercial operators, a small single person commercial drone operator, how many drones would they have? Look at Mel, right? How many has he got? He'd have his Inspire, his Phantom, his Mavic, and maybe another one or two on the side. So give it 5 drones that he'd potentially use for doing different types of commercial work. Do the math, multiply those 5 by 160. It's not an insignificant cost, but there's not necessarily, in my opinion, a large amount of money in that market to sustain that at the moment. It's more of a small industry, cottage industry business. It really can't sustain that cost.
Right. You just have to charge more for what you do, I guess, man. make it back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if I have a look at something that's kind of close to home, people doing insurance jobs. If you're charging a certain amount of money and the going rate is $100 a job or thereabouts, but there's not enough jobs coming in, people are not going to be comfortable with those kind of charges on top, I think.
I'm with you on that, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so our next one, we've got a drone based on a bus in the popular video game Fortnite made its debut at the first Fortnite World Cup over the weekend. Now, I don't know anything about Fortnite. This is something for people far younger than me, but they call this thing apparently the Battle Bus. Have you ever played Fortnite?
No, but I seen on TV where some kid made $1 million playing it the other day.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. It's apparently it's pretty playing games like that's pretty popular. They have big events, I guess. I mean, this kid is on news last week, about $1 million he won.
Yeah. So from what I can tell of that drone, it's a bus with a kind of a blimpy thing in the middle, and it's got the props below. It looks interesting. I'd be curious to see it actually in the air flying at some point, but that's all I've got for the moment. Hopefully I'll get some footage and share that in weeks to come. Yeah,
that's interesting as I'll get out for sure. The Fortnite World Cup, that may have been where that kid won his money at, Greg.
Very possible.
Yeah, I think he did.
Speaking of interesting drones, this one is an Octopus drone. I came across this one on a Reddit page. I don't have any more detail, but it looked kind of unusual. So let's just have a quick look at that.
I want one.
This looks so cool. Now, obviously, it's using some lighter than air, or it may even, have a tether at the top if they're really cheating. But I'm hoping that they've filled it with helium or something like that. Let's play that clip one more time. Oops, not that one. There we go. That looks so cool.
I take that back. I don't want one. I want two of them.
that design, if it is legit and not just some weird, video editing CGI thing, I reckon that's got a lot of possibilities at fairs and what have you for different things. So yeah, it looks cool.
Straight out of War of the Worlds, if I remember right. They had something like that in that movie, the original movie.
Yeah. So next story going on from that, people have been saying for a while that the selfie stick is being replaced with drones, but why do I keep seeing selfie sticks at tourist locations? Perhaps this tiny autonomous drone will get a few more selfie sticks off the street. The only problem that its flight time is limited to 6 minutes. Let's have a look. So this one, I think the name of it was the Airpix. Let me just get that. Yeah. So certainly very, very small, certainly very, very lightweight. Only 6 minutes flight time, as I said before. But if the price is right, and I don't yet have the pricing on it, if the price is cheap enough, I think it definitely could be a replacement for the selfie stick, and it's able to be controlled with hand gestures. So an interesting new product in the market space, and my producer went to sleep there. She's laughing. Okay, we've got one more story today, and this one is a bit of a political story. Officials in an Arizona county hope to use a drone to make it easier to get vote tallies from tribal land deep within the Grand Canyon. Now, at face value, this sounds like an innovative solution. It's an inaccessible area, but let me ask our viewers today to close your eyes. I want you to do this for me. Close your eyes. You too, Chris. You too, Grumpy. I want you to close your eyes. I can see you there. Okay. I want you to imagine that this is happening before the last US presidential election, or for Australians, that it's happening before the last Australian federal election. And we've got drones going and carrying all of the votes from this location back to head office. And just imagine a picture of, let's say, either Trump or Hillary, whichever one you don't like, or in Australia, Morrison or Bill Shorten, with a drone gun or some other thing in his hand, ready to go and shoot the drone out of the sky and steal the votes. You can open your eyes now and you can understand what I'm talking about. Instead of Russians interfering or whatever, I want you to imagine this is what could possibly happen. It's just not a smart thing to do.
No, that's not cool, man.
Yeah, look, it was an innovative thought, but I think there's too much danger with that and not one that we want to pursue any further. But that's the end of the news for today. So as we always do at this time.
So there will be no news from now on, so there.
And I won't play the title because it still says Curtis Dark.
And I'm just singing my song. I'm in a news-free.
There we go. I forgot to fade that out. I won't play the title because it says Curtis on the screen. Actually, see if I got another one. What if I play this one? There we go.
Uh-oh.
Ask the Oracle. So we've got our friend Lloyd Mendenhall. Come on, Lloyd. How you doing?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing good. Yeah. You guys can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad penny. I just keep turning up.
Yeah, well, yes, there is that. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we were going to have Curtis on today from the drone team, but he messaged me overnight that work has asked him to do some stuff at the end of his day, and he was unable to get home in time for the show. So I thought, well, let's bring Ask the Oracle, and we've certainly had some of the controversy happening in the last 24 hours. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think, as you guys would say down there, somebody spit the dummy, tossed their teddy, and pranged the pram.
Okay, look, I will try to not. I want to take a very technical look at this. So I've played back Ken's show. I've played back Bill's stream. I've played back his original recording of the event. I played back a chat yesterday with Curtis. And I want to share my thoughts and conclusions and, get your thoughts and conclusions. Is this right? Is this wrong? But I'm going to steer clear of the he said, she said stuff as much as we can. Does that sound like a fair plan?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree completely.
Okay. And I'm going to ask our audience, I'm going to give a bunch of thoughts that I want to give to you, and I want you to vote in the chat, right? So the first point that I'm going to give, I want you to say 1 yes if you agree or 1 no if you disagree. And then we'll have point 2 and you can do the same thing, and you two can try and add up the votes for me and let me know how we go by the end of this little segment.
You can help out.
Okay. So starting at the beginning, I think personally we can all agree that Bill is vendor friendly. And he likes to maintain relationships with vendors, which help facilitate ongoing reviews. So that's my first point. By the way, actually, we should rewind a little bit. I didn't get a video of any of this controversy because I didn't want to go into it and do the he said, she said and play clips and have someone say I have or haven't got permission to do that. So I'm assuming that everyone here who's watching today has seen a lot of this. And if you haven't, apologies. But let's go again. We want to ask the question, is Bill vendor friendly? In that he likes to maintain relationships with vendors, which will help facilitate ongoing reviews, demos, and evaluations. That's the first point. And if you could vote 1 yes or 1 no, just put that in the chat. Your first feedback on that, Mr. Oracle?
I would say in all fairness to Bill, but yeah, he is, and I like Bill, don't get me wrong, but yes, he is very vendor friendly. He wants to be able to continue to do what he's doing. And sometimes that leaves some of us scratching our heads.
By the way, I want you to type 1 and the word yes. If you just type 1 by itself, I don't know if that means yes or no. So there's a hint for the people typing in the chat.
Okay.
Type 1
We'll
followed by
count
the
all
word
ones
yes.
as a yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So point number 2. Point number 2, I want to make the proposition that Ken, and I think I saw him in the chat before, I want to make the assumption that Ken has a different style. I would personally use the phrase vendor neutral rather than vendor friendly. And this is not to say anything bad about Bill. That's just the way he operates. But Ken, I think I would say, is vendor neutral. He broadcasts what happens, good, bad, or ugly. Right? Now, Ken did a similar review when he looked at the X Dynamics Evolve, and there was a bad write-up for that product. So question 2, yes or no, is Ken what people would agree or describe as vendor neutral? So 2 yes if you agree with that, and 2 no if you don't think Ken is vendor neutral. And I'll let you guys go and vote. And in the meantime, what do you think, Mr. Oracle?
I would say yes. I would say that he probably is neutral because, I mean, he's given a lot of things that, you know, he's honest. I mean, he's brutally honest at times, but I'd rather have a brutally honest, and you guys all know me, I'm pretty brutally honest too. And I'd rather have that than think that, okay, this is a really great thing, go out there and then maybe have a situation that could turn bad. So just, that's my thought, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you absolutely have to be honest. And I will briefly talk on a parallel. If we talk for a minute about another product and another industry, and we talk about the Boeing kind of issues that have been happening with their aircraft, right? They had a problem and they didn't do something after that first crash that they could have done, that they, in my opinion, should have done. And then they waited for the next one, and then it went on again. I think, you know, people, even Boeing internally, needed to say, hey, there's a problem here and own up to it. But let's move on. Let's move on. Question 3 and point number 3. On the stream that Bill did after this controversial thing, Bill spoke about how he, and I'm going to quote his words exactly, he spoke about how he has been in constant communication with Scott and his team from Fluidity. And he also said that after Ken asked if he could use the clip, at that point, Bill reached out to Scott and his team before he responded back to Ken. That's what he said. And he said that he told us last night that his response to Fluidity was, you know, I think if I put together a clip that will present exactly what everyone needs to see, and if I narrated the clip, as you can see as well, and he went on and talked about that in more detail. So my view is, and I'm not trying to be personally responding to Bill, I'm trying to be very technical here about what happened. Now, based on what Bill said, I understand that he responded to Ken only after getting Fluidity's opinion and doing this narration. So the question is, does everyone agree that that was kind of what happened? And I don't know what the question is really here. I think that's kind of factual. Question 3 is not really a question. So we'll just, what do you think? Is that what happened? Did you watch that video last night?
I did. And yes, that is what he said, that he had been in touch with Fluidity through all of this, and that he only agreed after talking with them that he would send a clip that was,
vendor friendly.
Yeah, vendor friendly. And they agreed that would be okay. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess question 3 is, does everyone agree that the narrated clip was designed to be vendor friendly? 3 yes if you agree, or 3 no if you disagree. Okay. Now, while people are responding to that, I want to rewind the clock a bit. Scott was previously scheduled to appear on Ken's show, but that appearance was cancelled by Fluidity after the initial bad review. In comparison, X Dynamics proceeded with their guest spot after Ken gave X Dynamics a bad review. And no one has ever said a thing since then. It just died because they responded and said, yes, we've got a problem. They talked about it and they committed to fixing problems. Now, I could understand pulling Scott if there were lies or anything untrue in the review, right? That's totally acceptable. But Ken kind of said, well, here's the product and here's what happened. And I'm going to go and talk to Fluidity and we'll get back to you and I'll do another review once I hear back. That's what he said. It was a factual, this is what happened. So my question and my comment is, trying to avoid the issue is never going to end well. Do you agree that Fluidity were trying to avoid the issue? And do you agree that trying to avoid the questions is not going to end well? So 4 yes, if you agree with that, and 4 no, if you don't. Your thoughts, Mr. Oracle?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it the way my wife saw it. You know, we grew up in the era of the astronaut. You know, we're old timers. You know, we remember when the people landed on the moon, the first time. You know, and the second and thereafter. And one of the things we learned was, yes, when an astronaut gives their word, you always took them at that word, especially somebody who is becoming well known as that. And I don't necessarily agree that it was Scott's call, but I think his people were trying to avoid any possibilities of there being a problem. And I think Judy said she was just disappointed. So I would say yes and yes on both those. She was disappointed in an astronaut because he should have, in her opinion, he should have stepped up and said, listen, my name's on the front of this. I need to deal with this one way or the other. And they didn't get the review they wanted, so their people pulled the plug. And if that's the kind of people he's got working for him, they're not doing him any favors.
Yeah. And let's just go a little bit deeper into what you just said, the whole concept of working for NASA. In terms of the product design, I've got a comment that I'd like to make on that one. Working in the IT industry, early in my career, I was asked to be part of a project to move a data center from one place to another. Now, that's a pretty big project. But what makes it even bigger was that you had over half of the credit union's primary site in Australia, after over half of the credit unions in the country running out of that data center. So there was a guy that was the project manager, and he said to me, and to everyone else, he said, give me the title deeds to your house, if you've got a house, or the papers to your car, or whatever it is that's your largest thing that you own, and you can get them back when it's successful. And he said, only give them to me if you're confident about this plan. Now, the interesting thing about that guy who told me that, he used to work for NASA as well, and he was involved in the original Apollo program. And I still remember that, and it's something that's guided me in my IT career for many, many years after that. A guy by the name of Eric Garnett. And I'm kind of, when you talk about aviation, we'll move from space and we'll go into aviation. Same kind of thing should happen for aircraft design, right? And obviously we had the problem with Boeing recently, but then let's go down to drones. It's still an aircraft, it's still in the air. We need to make sure that we've got products that are reliable. Now, having said that, I acknowledge that there can be problems with products, especially during their launch, but trying to ignore them, trying to forget about them, I don't think that's ever going to end well.
Yeah, no. I mean, good Lord. I mean, Windows 2000, was that it? Or yeah. Windows Millennium. Need I say more? They tried to ignore it. It just got worse. You know? They thought they had everything in it, and it was a piece of junk. And not saying that this is a piece of junk, but you cannot ignore people's input, good, bad, or indifferent. And you can't, stick your head in the sand and pretend there's not a problem. And one of the things that somebody said out there is he is being handled by, he's got handlers. Unfortunately, and I agree. I think it's Jeff Baker said that. He got handlers, and unfortunately, they're handling him badly. And it's, somebody who won't come on a show because he got a bad review and won't stand up for his product. I'm not too sure I want that product.
And just to be clear, we don't want to say these things. We don't want to cause damage to Fluidity Technologies and their business. We're talking about there was a problem, and something that happened is causing a problem and continuing to be a problem. But anyway, I've got one other brief topic that I do want to discuss, and there were references to attacking Bill's wife on the show. Last night, I played the segment that's all the controversial part of Ken's show to my wife to get her reaction. She had not seen any of the debate, and I didn't show her the chat of what was happening, the chat replay. But I asked her to watch the video without reading the chat. She didn't have any concerns with the content, nor did she believe that there were any personal attacks. She did have a concern about one thing, and that was the use of the word karma. But I explained that the word karma is the name of a drone that is famous for falling out of the air and having problems. But my wife's my producer sitting over here to my left, and you can put your hand in front of the camera and gives a thumbs up. Is that what I said? Just put your hand up. There we go. Right?
Yes.
But the point that I'm making, right?
Well,
I don't think in and of itself there was an attack on people or wives or personality attacks or anything like that. That's just my opinion.
There wasn't. I showed it to Judy just like you did your wife, and I've talked this over with several people, and I'm trying to be like you because I like both Bill and I like Ken. I have respect for Ken. Ken, as you said earlier, he's got a different style. He is an entertainer. That's part of what he does, but he brings us so much value to his show. And the fact that he made that Bill made that personal attack on Kim because what really upset me the most, and I've talked to you about this, is not only that, he basically told, and Steve, I'm going to use your name, but he basically told Steve he was out of line because Steve Carpenter was saying, Bill, but there wasn't an attack. And Bill lost it and made it personal. And that's not how you promote yourself as a reviewer. And I saw no attack. I watched it 3 or 4 times. I had Judy watch it, and she wanted to know what a karma was too, because she thinks it's going to come back and bite somebody.
So let's just quickly get a vote on that as well. Point number 6. Do you agree with me that there was no attack? 6, yes, if you agree with me that there was no personal attacks on people, or 6, no, if you think there was an attack. So I'm hoping to hear yeses to all these questions. That's what I'm hoping you agree with me. The final part of the puzzle is the topic of permission to use the clip in the first place. And I did a quick search on Google on the phrase fair use, and it says fair use is any copying of copyrighted material done for a limited and transformative purpose, such as to comment upon, criticize, or parody a copyrighted work. So commenting on, for example, includes news use, right? Now, such use can be done without permission from the copyright owner. That's the definition of fair use. So based on that, my belief is, was permission required? My belief is no, it was not required. Second thing is, was it requested? Yes, we've all heard that Ken asked for permission to use the clip. was permission granted? And I think everyone will agree, yes, it was, but with conditions. They wanted Bill's narration and all of that kind of stuff over the top. Next question, did both parties agree to the terms? Right, so I think the answer is definitely no. Obviously, if Ken played the original clip instead of the narrated clip, he didn't agree to those terms. So Bill wanted editorial control over what was going to be on Ken's show. And Ken, I know, never, ever, ever gives up editorial control. It's just not in him. It's not what he does. And I know Ken's in the chat at the moment, and he's decided to not comment on any of this, and I understand that. But my point is, under those circumstances, Ken would be entitled to show the original clip with or without permission under the fair use provisions. I don't know what was in any of the email discussion, nor do I intend to go down that rabbit hole. So here's my question. Do you think it was right? Not from a legal perspective maybe, but do you think Ken was entitled to go and use the original material even though Bill wanted him to give the marketing approved words that he'd discussed with Fluidity? There's the question. I can't remember what number we're up to. We'll call this number 8.
I think 7.
No, we've already...
Oh.
Let's
Yeah,
call
we're
it
at
number
7.
8. We'll call it number
All right.
8, just because I think I got... Let's number 8. So
All right.
do you agree that it was appropriate to use the clip in its form that it was? If you agree, put 8 yes. And if you don't agree, put 8 no.
Well, they're all saying 7 yes, so those that haven't caught up to our chat because our voice is out of sync, it's 8, but I'm assuming everybody's meaning yes, it was fair. And as far as people are putting 8, okay. Yeah. You know, it's real simple. If he didn't want him to use it and he knew it was up there, he should have pulled it down and then sent the modified one in. That would have solved the whole problem. But I don't think it was fair of Bill to expect Ken to not use what was available. And the clip was posted by the creator on YouTube, is available for embedding according to YouTube. Thank you, Jim, for writing that up there. It's Above and Beyond Drones. And it's right. If you click that box that says that you can embed, you know, because if you don't have that box checked, you can't embed somebody else's video. They can't embed your video. And he had it available, so fair use.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. Look, anyway, what I would like to do now, so that's the kind of the end of my pre-prepared bit. It's clear to me that there are product issues based on the tests performed by both Ken and Bill. Okay? Some of that may not be a technical problem. Some of that may be user error where Bill made an error. I'm not going to judge whether it was or was not an error by Bill. But if it wasn't an error by him, it must have been an error in the documentation and his reading of that documentation or interpretation. Or if it wasn't the documentation, it's got to be an error with the technology. People, product, or people, process, and technology. Those are the 3 things. Those are the 3 aspects. There's nothing else that can be part of that. Now, we all accept that there will be problems with new products. I go back to my earlier comment that the way to deal with product launch problems is to tackle them head on, not to try and respond with spin. So that's my view. Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah. A couple of things that strike me. I watched him on the Wednesday night show with a bunch of the gentlemen that have some they have some good input, but a lot of them are also friends of Bill, but they still have some great stuff. And they had Scott on there, and he kept pointing out that anybody can take this out of the box and go out and use it. It's for those people that don't have the training and the wherewithal like for firefighters and, all this, they can't all be trained. And well, I saw a couple of flaws in that argument already. They're supposed to be, or they shouldn't be using the equipment. But anyways, the other thing is anybody, well, some guy can just grab it and take over, and that's cool. But from what I've seen, it seems like it takes a little more than just pulling it out of the box, plugging it in, turning it on. As my wife used to say when I explained to her all the steps she had to go through to start the computer, she says, what happened to the commercial on TV that says point, click, and ship? That's the way he's selling it, but that's not seems to be the way it's working. And there's a problem with it, and they need to either give better documentation, better training, or fix the problem, whatever one of those threes that it is, or find somebody that knows how to use it.
Yeah. So I'm just reading through the chat comments. I feel bad for Bill, but the FT Aviator is the problem. They need to get out in front. They need to speak to Ken and get back on his program and own up to the problem and say, hey, we got a problem. Let's fix it. Let's move on. Here's another one to test. That should have happened already. It hasn't. Comment from one person, tit for tat. He said, you said, la, 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 la. Okay, we don't want to spend any more time on this than required. But I think it was appropriate to have this one piece on here today because it's not Ken defending himself. It was me looking at this as being as neutral as I can, and I've tried to avoid being personal. I'm not trying to attack Bill. I'm not trying to attack Ken. I'm trying to keep right down the middle and shoot down the middle. Do we feel bad for Bill? Yeah, Bill is ultimately upset because he made a promise to FT Aviator. He made a promise to them. He said, I'm going to get the message out and it's all going to be good. And it didn't work out the way he wanted. That's, I think, the root cause of the problem. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other last comments or thoughts from you, Mr. Oracle?
No, I think we've covered that. I think, and I'm like a lot of the guys in here. I like Bill. I really do.
Yeah, Bill's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. And
I think he got emotional and probably, look, the video's already been deleted and taken down. And after this, I'm not going to speak of it again. And I'm not on the screen because my producer's in a daze.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
She's getting bored with this discussion.
Froze?
Chris is here. Chris, do you want to comment about any of this? Let's bring Chris in.
Yeah, it's been pretty much been said. I agree with most everybody. Bill is a nice guy. Nothing wrong with him at all. But the attack, I didn't see it. I seen the same thing everybody else has seen and talked about today.
Yeah.
And it's almost run its course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can put this to bed now. Probably.
We can put this to bed now. And one other thing that I haven't told my producer that we're going to do today is...
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stomp the Yank.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that fun game that we only do with the American guests when they're here. It's time to play Stomp the Yank. Okay, today we're going to have a little bit of fun, and I only planned this at the last minute. I didn't get the question ready instead of doing it myself. Lloyd, who's a kind of an honorary Australian, he's got some good friends that are Australian, and he said he'll go and get a question for me today. He is the Oracle. He knows everything after all.
I'm a know-it-all. I don't know that I know everything.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah, so Lloyd, what is your question?
Okay. I'm still hearing the music. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I know. We'll go and get the music off. Let's
right.
go and clear that and clear that, and there it is.
There we go.
Go ahead.
All right. Chris, I got one main question. This is the only one I could come up with on short notice, but that I thought of. Okay, and you got three choices. What is a budgie smuggler?
A budgie smuggler.
Yes. Is it 1, A bird smuggler that smuggles budgies out of Australia or into them. 2, is it Speedos? Or 3, a bartender that serves a drink called the budgie.
I'm going to say number 2, Lloyd.
You're right. It's Speedos.
Lloyd, you've got to remember it's always number 2.
Oh, God, I've got to start switching that up, man.
People always put the answer in number 2 because they think they're not going to do number 1, they're not going to do number 4, and my producer hasn't got me on the screen again. And
You're saying I didn't know the answer? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm telling you, you got it right. That. It is Speedos.
It is.
Budgie smuggler, Speedos.
Yeah.
I had to work hard to come up with the third one, which is a bartender that serves drinks called budgies.
Okay, look, it was a little bit of fun and games. It was a little bit of fun and games, and I thought we'd just throw that in there today. Thank you, Lloyd, for being our oracle today and filling in when, and as I said, look, it's not Curtis's fault. He had something come up work-related that he couldn't be here, but I did want to chat about this stuff. Yeah, you've got something...
Yes, don't forget the Grumpy Vlogger and Above and Beyond Drones. We're running for president and vice president in 2020. We stand for absolutely nothing. Vote for us. We are voting for the Indie Dim Republican Party. That's who we're running for. Okay. And anybody can vote for us. And we are taking bribes. Thank you.
Okay, finishing the day today as only Lloyd can. Thank you, Lloyd, for being our grump and our oracle and all of that today. But now it's time for some competition and giveaway stuff. So I mentioned at the beginning of the show today, and we'll just put that shot B3 up only, not the other one. Get rid of the wheel. So I mentioned at the beginning of the show today about flythere.com. We've got a giveaway of a flight. Now, the important thing to note is that they're doing a kind of a referral program thing where if you've got an aunt, an uncle, a granny, a grandpa, a son, a daughter, a nephew, niece, whatever, go to flythere.com, and if they're not a drone pilot, it's a great gift for a birthday or whatever it is that you might want to be giving for. And when you do that, you get a flight for yourself. So give one away, keep one for yourself. Really, really cool kind of thing that they're doing at the moment. In addition to that, we're giving one away today. To enter, and Lloyd, can you do the exclamation mark fly there? You need to have put a comment in a Facebook, a YouTube, a Twitter, whatever it is that you use for your social media platform. Lloyd's putting it in the chat room right now. I want to go to Thailand or Indonesia or Philippines or whatever the country is that you pick, doesn't matter, and post that comment in your social media account. And in a few moments, we're going to spin the wheel. What you need to do to win is very simple. You need to, and I'll just put the chat back on the screen because it's hiding at the moment. There we go. In a moment, we're going to spin the wheel. And it's really simple. When we spin the wheel, someone's going to win. You have to pick a number between 1 and 100, or 1 and 99, I think, actually. So start typing in the chat now. Type in a number between 1 and 99. The first person to get the number is the winner. We're going to wait a little while before I go and click the wheel. In the meantime, Chris is going to entertain us. Chris, can you tap dance or tell a joke? Which would you prefer?
Yeah, let's see here. I got a joke or two, and let me think if I put some good.
Oops. My wife had that shot lined up, and when she changed to you, the wheel came up. We'll do the wheel in a moment. It'll come back. Go ahead.
Well, do you know how to get a one-armed drone pilot out of a tree, Greg?
How do you get a one-armed drone pilot out of a tree?
You wave at him.
That was bad.
That's just how friendly they are, man. We're all friendly. We all wave at each other.
Okay.
So naturally, he's going to wave.
Yeah. And what's the second one? You said you had a couple.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I ain't got Alexa to ask her. Hey, Siri, give me a joke.
This one's for the kids. Why did the meatballs tell the spaghetti to go to sleep? It was past bedtime.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. Serious as bad as Alexa, man.
Yeah. Okay, so people hopefully are typing in numbers right now in the chat. I can see it's flying back really fast. We're going to go and press the button now. Let's spin the wheel. Shot A4. And the number we're looking for is number 83. So the first person who's got 83 in the chat, you're the winner of the Fly There competition today. Now, if no one has typed that yet, and that is totally possible, you can still type another number, and the first person who types it even now is going to win that prize today.
83.
But you must have done a social media share. There we go. We've got the winner being Mike B, aka the Drone Ranger. Mike, I want you to send me a link to your social media post a little bit later today. And once you've done that, we're going to get you in touch with the Fly There people and give you that winning prize. David Marr is saying he is the winner. Let me just double check that. I don't see a David Marr. Now, I should learn from Mr. Heron and send it to live chat, not top chat. I'll just make sure I didn't miss it. No, Mike B, the Drone Ranger, is definitely the first person to mention that. Okay, so there's our winner. Now, before we do anything else, got a giveaway next week as well. And again, the social media share is something that helps our sponsors, and I encourage you to do that now. And Grumpy, I know you're still there in the background. Can you type in that other command to let them know what they've got to do to enter next week's competition? And that's going to be the No Limit drones. So in a couple of moments, you'll see what the message is. It'll come from Nightbot. You need to put that into either a Facebook, a YouTube, or whatever social media platform you like. You aren't really flying unless you fly with @NoLimitDrones. And put in the URL, actually. Let's do that. I should have put that in that message. That's my bad. So put their website in there as well. That's all for the competition stuff for today. We've got one thing left that's part of our regular show, and that is Explore Australia. So let's go and play this week's Explore Australia. This first clip today comes from Michael Hudson, titled A Different Perspective. And this is a collection of Michael's drone shots. It's a showcase reel of various shots from all around Australia, shot on a DJI Phantom 4. And as always, each and every week, we've got links to all of these great channels in the description for the video. Go and support them, click on the channel links, go to watch a couple of their videos and let them know Ausby Drones sent you. And this is why Ken doesn't want to come to Australia. Is that a shark or a dolphin? I couldn't see from here. But it's okay, Ken Heron. When you come to Australia, you've just got to remember all the sharks are going to be going and chasing the criminals who are trying to evade police out to sea. Beautiful sun flare there. Second clip today called from a channel called Sky Rimmer, and this is from Palm Beach, Sydney, Australia. They say on the description, we were mesmerised by the splendour of Palm Beach, from glittering blue waters and golden sands to towering pines and magnificent Barrenjoey Lighthouse. This was shot with a DJI Mavic Pro and using some ND filters, but other than that, no colour correction, just raw gear. And our third one today, I hope I pronounced this correct, Tour de Timu. This was shot in Canberra, Australia in July 2019. The original footage is 4K, so again, I encourage everyone to go and check out the original channel. The channel is in the description. Go and have a look and let them know. For those people who don't know Australia, Canberra's actually quite famous for one thing: roundabouts. I don't know if any of you guys play Cities Skyline. Actually, I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's talk about this for a while. Swordsman42 is the channel for this one, and this is at Belmore Falls, New South Wales, shot on a DJI Mavic Pro. And he says this was his first attempt at putting together some of the footage from a recent trip to Belmore Falls in New South Wales, Australia. Only a short clip. He didn't get enough to put anything too long together, maybe next time. But if this is your first attempt, you're definitely going to be creating some beautiful footage. Let me go back to Canberra as we watch this just for some information. Canberra is full of roundabouts. For those who play Cities Skyline, I know a lot of people love roundabouts there, but it feels like you're in the game when you're in Canberra. You're always going round in circles. Anyway, back to our clips here. We've got Skyview VP as the channel here. This is the Rayburn Orchids in Perth, Australia. Also shot in 4K. So I encourage you to go to the channel, have a look at the original clip. Beautiful, beautiful footage. This is a winter evening shot just before the sunset, loving the colours of nature, using a DJI Mavic 2 Pro for this particular video. The name of the guy that actually shot it is Tosef Pathan. It's interesting, a lot of people do a lot of the aerial shots, but this one of going down between the orchard lines there, that's something that a lot of people don't do. Flying at a lower altitude and getting that perspective and the movement, so looks really, really good. So we're just having a little bit of fun in the background there. Chris dropped out for a little while, so my producer's going to do some magic, hopefully. You might find him at the bottom. Anyway, we'll see. Our last clip is from Osbeach Andy, Myponga Reservoir Reserve, nestled near the township of Myponga. And I have to say, I love the name of this. Myponga. It sounds like my smelly something, my pong, I don't know. Anyway, nestled near the township of Myponga on the stunning Fleurieu Peninsula, about an hour's drive south of Adelaide, is the My Ponga Reservoir Reserve. The trail here is ideal for walking and running with room for families. You can also enjoy a picnic. You can also head out to the lookout, take in the scenic surrounds. Walking, running the 3.3 kilometre loop track on the southeast side of the reservoir takes you through open plains, forested areas and native vegetation. The unsealed trail is suitable for walking and running. Cycling on the unsealed trail at My Ponga is a shared use path for both cyclists and walkers, so please be considerate of other trail users unless you are playing a game where you want to try and run them over, but of course we don't encourage that. The picnicking there has several picnic tables and along the trail, and of course you're welcome to pack a picnic basket complete with a blanket or chairs so you can sit back, relax, enjoy the view. Lookout above the My Ponga Dam wall on the western side of the reservoir is the prime stop for a stunning view of the reservoir. He's put a lot of information in this clip. Birds and wildlife, take some time and see if you can spot some of the special species that call My Ponga home. More than 120 bird species live in the area, including some that enjoy life by the water and others that can be found inland. You can also watch for native animals, lizards, and listen for frogs. All of that information proudly presented by Ozbeach Andy, the creator of this clip. I encourage you to go to his channel. I think I saw him in the chat earlier today. Ozbeach Andy, are you there?
I think he was there earlier, Greg.
Yeah. Okay. We got to the end of the show. It's 5 minutes past the top of the hour, so we're a tiny little bit over. I want to thank you for filling in, Chris, for being co-host today. It was good to have you. And,
yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for having our other person in the background there. I'll just put his mic back. There we are, Lloydie.
Always glad to join in on the fun. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm a ham.
Ham is what type of animal?
It's a pig.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
by the way, we have a slogan. It's called "Bite Me, Vote for Me, and We'll Set You Free."
Okay. Thanks very much, Lloyd. Thank you, Chris. It was good having you both. It was good having a look at the news. The Explore Australia clips, always good. The controversy is now over. I hope this has put an end to it. The only thing that I would ask from Fluidity Tech going forward, give Ken a call. Work with him to make sure that he understands any limitations or product kind of things. And I think he will do hang on, we have some more controversy. I always forget which one it is. Mike, aka the Drone Ranger, is saying, please give the prize away to Brett Nunley, because I understand I got a message in the background that the social share wasn't done before winning. So we will give that to Brett Nunley. Contact me via email.
Brett
Lloyd?
said he won last week. He's already won.
He's won
and
something
Matt
before.
Kiwi said he didn't share. He was the third one. I think Mike Roach is the one that's left.
Okay, look, here's the deal. Whoever it is that thinks they won, of those people who typed in the correct number, send me an email, send me a link to your social share, and the first person who got a number and had the social share before the draw today, you win. Send it to me and I'll get it sorted out. Speaking of which, where do you send it to? As always, our viewer video information is on your screen right now. So send either viewer videos or winning competition stuff to upload@gregkuhnert.com. I'll say that again, upload@gregkuhnert.com. Or if you'd like to recognize us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or whatever, those are our channels. It's really easy to find. We got the same one on all three, @OzByDrone. If there is anything you would like to send us via physical post, the address is 5/127 Princess Highway, Sylvania, New South Wales 2224. I'm looking forward to receiving chocolate or candy. And Chris, for some reason, his microphone is not working. So that was after you dropped out before. Don't know why that is, Chris. Apologies. We can't hear you. I can see your faces moving, but yeah. Okay, that's all we've got time for. I'll leave Chris out of there because we don't have enough time to go and bring him back. Grumps, thanks for being part of it. Chris, thanks for being part of it. We're going to say bye for now.
Enjoyed it.
See you next time. Bye-bye.